Welcome to Soaper Woman again. There goes my squeaky door. I am watching the Tour de France, which I do every year, and I have been doing for 30 some odd years, and so I'm listening to the tour and making soap at the same time. So I've mixed my, we are making tea tree and orange blemish bar. Sounds really luxurious, doesn't it? And right now I am mixing my lye in my water. I didn't show you how to do that because I've shown you a zillion times. So, and once again, I use the room temp method. So I have my solids here, my solid oils, which I consider palm oil a solid oil. If some of you have questioned whether that's an actual solid oil, but I do. And I pour that into my solid oils. Don't have to measure, don't have to take the temperature, because the process of melting the solid oils will cool down the lye sufficiently. Now this has lard in it, coconut oil, soy wax. So these all melt very fast, which means your oils may be a little warmer than you want them to be, but you know, I don't even pull my thermometer out, so I just sort of guess, and I have not had any problems with that, so I don't think you have to worry about temperature as much as a lot of videos will tell you. I've never had a soap not turn out because of the temperature. I have had a few soaps get too hot from covering them, and I had to learn. That was just a rookie mistake. And I've had to learn that soaps with higher sugar content or soaps in thicker soap molds will get hotter, so they don't necessarily need to be covered. All I'm doing is stirring and waiting for this to melt. This is the exciting part of soap making. Whoopee! Watching soap oils melt. Yay! I don't know why making soap is such an obsessive thing, but it is. Once you start, you just cannot stop. I started out just a few months ago, just wanted to make soap because I was bored, and now I'm on my way of making it a business. So it's crazy. Just so you know, you start making soap, you won't want to stop. One of the reasons I decided to make these tutorials was I was a little obsessed with reading soap sites and soap tutorials, and I just felt like maybe it shouldn't be such a serious thing. But maybe it should be more playful and fun. Not that you shouldn't take proper precautions, because lye can be damaging. Not that you shouldn't prepare properly and measure properly, but that it's a fun thing. Okay, now I'm going to put my oils in. And as usual, anytime you use castor oil, the oil will completely stay in the bottom. I'll show you here how much comes out. It's a lot of oil. That's all the castor oil, actually. The other oils slide out pretty easily. And then we mix the liquid oils with the solid oils with our stick blender. If you don't have a stick blender, get one. Your life will change dramatically making soap if you have a stick blender. Just so you know, every single video that I have out right now are soaps that I've made for the first time. So none of the soaps I'm making in these videos I've ever made before. So how they turn out and how the consistency of the soap, I'm learning along with you. because that's one of the things I promised on Soaper Woman, was that I would take you on my adventure. So good, bad, or ugly, we're doing it together. I'd say this is a pretty standard trace soap. Doesn't seem to be thickening up too fast. Now I am putting in bentonite clay, all my essential oils, and avocado puree. It called for avocado butter, but I don't have any avocado butter. So I thought, well, why not? Because it is a small amount, only 1.5 ounces. So why not make it a puree instead of the butter? It still has all the oils and everything that avocado oil would have, but you also have the benefit of having a fruit in the soap, and I love having fruit, and yes, avocado is a fruit, and I love having fruits in soaps. I called for bentonite clay, but I'm actually using French green clay or Dead Sea clay because that's just what I had. Really, it doesn't matter which clays you use. Whatever clay you have available is fine in these recipes. It will work. Some of the clays do have different properties, but basically they're all good for complexion. So. Now I'm going to smell the soap. If I feel that it doesn't have enough essential oils in it, which I don't think it does, I'm going to put a little more in. The rosemary I could smell, the orange I couldn't smell at all. I'm going to put a little lemon in. I think that's a stronger essential oil. Now with lemon, sometimes you're going to have the problem of it seizing. You might have the problem of it seizing up, but with essential oils, it doesn't. Soaps don't usually seize. That's more with fragrance oils. Now, I am going to put this in a solid mold. If you're a little concerned about a clay soap in a solid mold and cutting it, because clay soaps will, they will cure quickly. And if you're worried about it crumbling when you cut it, I would suggest putting it in individual molds. I have done enough clay soaps that I'm pretty confident about cutting them. But if you're worried about it, just put it in a individual mold. Another thing I recommend that I've never mentioned before is count your ounces on your soap recipes. Make sure that you have the right size mold for the mold you're using, for the amount of liquid you have. Sometimes I put them in molds and I know the mold is too small and I will just take the excess clay and put it in something else. But I highly suggest counting. If you're not sure how many ounces your mold is, just fill it with water, pour the water into a pitcher and measure it on your scale. Then you will know exactly how much your mold will hold. And that was it. That was really fast, right? I will be doing, as usual, the reveal, the cutting of the mold after this. I'm not sure if I'm going to do an edited video or just a raw video, but as usual I will have the recipe with the cutting of the soaps. So I will see you later. Check back for more videos. And this is Soaper Woman, and as usual, soaping is fun. Good evening, and this is Soaper Woman, and I'm back to you with our soap and the unmolding of the clay soap that we made. And as I took the mold off, this is what it looks like. quite unusual, I think. This is a cake silicone mold, which I use a lot of pastry molds for my soaps. Now there's no right or wrong way to cut this particular soap. I think we're going to end up with 6 bars of soap. This is the first time I've ever used this mold, so I'm guessing as much as you are looking at this and trying to figure out where the halfway is. I think it's right between these small bubbles. I'm going to say that that's where it is. Now this soap is still pretty soft. If you wait too long with clay soap, it gets too hard to cut, and I can see that I didn't cut it quite right. These 3 bars are going to be larger than these 3 bars. Next time I'll cut it a little differently. So now I'm cutting it into thirds, and you know, if you're really want to get it perfect, you'll want to measure it. I'm sort of eyeballing it this time. It's, like I said, the first time I've used this one, so I'm kind of playing with it, deciding how I want to cut it. I think, oh, look how that sealed right up, so I didn't have to ruin it. You can repair your soaps. Let's see, I think it needs to be about there and there. That looks about right. But you definitely can get 6 bars out of this soap. I'm going to have 3 larger bars for the bath. And that's a really pretty soap. And 3 smaller handbars. I think I might sell a large one and a small one together, so you can have one for your sink and one for your shower. That kind of makes sense to me. Once I figure out the size of these, I think they'll be pretty easy to cut if I remember where the spacing is. I was worried that there wouldn't be a bubble in each bar, but that doesn't seem to be a problem either. So these all came out quite pretty. I love the color of clay soaps. They seem so luxurious to me. And this soap has been curing for about maybe 5 or 6 hours. It could have gone a little longer, but these soaps tend to get crumbly if they're too hard when you cut them. So it's better to cut them while they're a little soft. Firm, but still soft. So all I'm going to do now is just spray these with rubbing alcohol and set them up to dry. Okay. Have a nice evening, and hope you're enjoying the tour as much as I am. And remember, soaping is fun.